after that send-off, did the Blues get things right? Could they have done things differently? They did seem to hold off Queensland for, probably longer than expected, I thought, because I thought the floodgates would open immediately. But, how do you rate their sort of performance after the send-off?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Blues certainly could have let that get a lot worse. And I don't think the final scoreline really sums up the game. I think the Blues were a lot better than 38-10, particularly given they played with 12. But, I was saying after the send-off, I thought Queensland could have made that 50 or 60. We'll get into some stuff for Queensland in a little while, no doubt. But, I did think the Blues were quite good in the way they went about their work after the send-off. They fought hard, and I think the Blues of last year would have rolled over. The big thing for mine, though, I don't think Michael Maguire got things quite right with his interchange rotation and where he sort of sacrificed a position on the field. He talked about in the lead-up, Hudson Young was probably going to play in the centres if there was an issue. Hudson Young didn't come onto the field till the 55th minute. Angus Crichton spent time in the centres. That didn't work. He missed something like 8 tackles. So it really, I'm not sure where Michael Maguire's thinking was there. Also, the bench rotation was really weird. I don't understand picking Jake Trbojevic as captain, leaving him on for the first 25 minutes, and then you don't see him again until there's 4 minutes to go. To put it in perspective, Isaiah Yeo coming off the bench played 55 minutes versus your captain playing 30, so I couldn't really get my head around that. Pomolola Kauatu was used in the middle. He played a very short stint. Couldn't really get my head around that one either. I think there were some questionable ones for Michael Maguire. There's no doubt that when you lose a centre to a send-off and you're playing with 12, your bench rotation does, it gets certainly not where it was supposed to be at the start of the game. It gets thrown out of whack. But I think he went too far away from the plan in trying to get creative to cover the issue. And I think it may have cost the Blues in the end because they were right in that game for a period. Obviously, fatigue got him in the end, though.
Yeah, I'm sure he wasn't expecting to be a man down 7 minutes into the game. But on the other side of that, Billy Slater's bench policy was proven correct. So is that something that the Blues should look to replicate in Game 2?
Yeah, well, I mean, firstly, kudos to Billy Slater for throwing it back on the bench. Obviously, Selwyn Cobbo came into the centres there, moved Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow to fullback, and it just worked brilliantly for Queensland. I mean, one thing you look at is that Queensland have had injuries in 4 of their last 6 origins, I think, leading into last night in the outside backs. And it, absolutely made sense for Slater to pick an outside back. He explained that in the lead-up. It was one of the reasons he did it. So, kudos to Slater. Should the Blues look to replicate it? Yeah, based on last night, you'd find it hard to argue they shouldn't. I think the big thing for the Blues is that, as we just talked about, Jake Trbojevic only played half an hour. Pomolola Kauatu only played 25 minutes. Hudson Young only played 25 minutes. If you've got 3 guys on the bench playing, 90 minutes between them, it means your starting forwards are spending a lot of time on the park, and it probably means you can get away with picking one less forward and picking, whether it be a specialist outside back or a backup dummy half, someone who can slot into the back line at points if there's an injury. The argument is certainly there, I would suggest, for Maguire to make that change heading into Game 2. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little while.